We'll continue on now with the headers. Headers are simply pins that we're going to solder onto the board so that we can attach other devices or put shunts in place. In this particular one we have a 6-pin, a 5-pin, a 3-pin, and a 2-pin header. Doesn't matter which one you start with. Just going to start with the big ones and work my way down. We're going to do these in a similar fashion to what we did last time as far as soldering in one pin. Here's where the 6-pin header goes. I'm going to just simply park it in the holes. And it's actually kind of stiff. Now that's good because that means it's pretty much straight as we normally would do it. Because normally I would put one of these in, solder one pin, turn it around and clean it up. Looks like I don't need to do that this time. It's actually one of the tighter fit headers I've ever seen. You'll notice the this 3rd pin right here is a wagon wheel. Same problem as before. There's nothing to trim on these. Just a quick inspection of the pins, and I'm quite happy with that. We'll repeat the process here for the rest of the headers. This particular one wasn't that tight. Noticed it's kind of kilted over. I'm going to flip it over here, heat this single joint up so I can straighten it. Let's see how straight that looks. Yeah, I'm okay with that. Put the 3-pin header in. There we go. Now, hold it in. One of the things you can do with these, I'm kind of just grab with my fingernail right there and hold it as I flip it over. From the back side, these pins are beefy enough where you can grab hold of them from this side. Looks pretty straight, so we'll go ahead and put the 2-pin header in, which is a little down here on the corner. Insert the pin in, hold it with your finger, reach over and grab the pin from the back, and set it down on your table. And solder in one of the pins. Let's see how that looks. Quite pleased with all of those. We'll now just solder all of these in. Let's get a quick inspection. Alright. Our next part is an interesting part. This is our voltage regulator. And the voltage regulator takes a bit of work. You actually need 4 parts for the voltage regulator. One is the voltage regulator itself. The second is thermal paste. And the last two being a nut and a screw to fasten the voltage regulator onto its base. Here's where the voltage regulator goes. I'm going to zoom in on this spot here, right next to where the LED, that power LED is. You see here's where the 1, 2, 3 pins. The back portion of this voltage regulator, I'm going to lay it right here where the transformer is, on the backward side. This is where the heat has to be drawn from. We've created a pad here on the back of the board that serves to cool the voltage regulator. Now, the interesting solution is that you've got to put the voltage regulator in the holes and then bend the voltage regulator back to where the holes match the place to bolt it in. The thermal paste will go on the back of the part here. The question is where do these holes, where do we bend the leads at? So we're going to line it up. Take a good case. Oh, I think I know where these have to bend at. The leads for this guy have little steps, and this body is never meant to actually touch the PCB. It stops right here on these little stops, and from what I can see, that's exactly where we need to bend them. So never bend the leads next to the body of the part, as I said with the resistors, because you can actually break the part. What I'm going to try to do is just take this small tool, put it here against the body. So what I'm going to do is just take the leads, I'm going to just take them and bend them 90 degrees right there. Let's see how that fits and if that serves our purpose. Actually, I'm not quite far enough. So what we're going to do is pull this out. I didn't actually have them 90 degrees. Notice where they are. We'll just go ahead and bend them on over a little farther. Easier to overshoot and come back than it is not to get in there at all. So let's test fit this. There we go. Now it fits. So now what we need to do, well, I say it fits, but let me show you how I know it fits. Let's turn it around. You see the hole? It fits when you can get the screw in the hole. So let's put the screw in the hole. Okay. Now, take your notice. I'm going to turn over here to the side. I want you to take a look at, I've overbent the leads a little bit to make everything work out. So bend them at the bottom, overbend them as necessary to make things line up. I got the screw in, but unfortunately we don't have the thermal paste. So this is where I've got to take everything apart. Now, folks, thermal paste is messy. Explain why you need it. First of all, let's focus in on the part here, because you don't need very much. You've got way more paste here than you will ever use. Notice, can you see how much see if I can focus in on exactly how much I put on there. And that's almost too much. We'll take this, just spread it around with your finger. Basically what this does is serves to fill in the natural hills and valleys. Okay, this is what it would look like after you spread it. To fill in the natural hills and valleys in machine components so that you get very good surface connections for the heat to get out of the part. Without using this paste, it's probably safe to say you wouldn't get more than 40 to 50% coverage of actual parts on the voltage regulator touching the actual heat sink on the board. Now normally we would flip this over and do our bit of soldering, but this time we're going to do it a little differently. I'm going to actually put the nut on here first. Give it a tighten with my finger. This is just used to keep it in contact with the thermal paste. Now, if your thermal paste would have squirted out from the sides, this would be the point at which you'd go clean it up. Now, we're going to solder in the 3 leads below. They will take a bit of heat and a little bit of time. Alright, the voltage regulator is in. Let's take a look at the joints here. They look pretty good. We will need to snip off the excess leads there. Intermediate view of the entire board.